Harland stepping in. All right, so let me explain, episode 47, What's Wrong with Orny Adams, in studio, Harland Williams.
Yeah, buddy. Hi.
Well, we haven't started yet. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Say hi in a second.
Okay.
I
just wasted a hi.
Got to make sure if the mics are on. Mic's on?
Yeah.
Oh. What's Wrong with Orny Adams, episode 47. What's up, buddy?
You know what? Mine might be a little hot.
Okay,
Turn it down just a tease. There we go.
Let's do a full sound check before this even starts.
Oh, that's nice. That's good there.
How you doing?
Great. How are you, guy?
I'm good. So I'm trying something different. You and I are both investigating this podcast game.
Yeah.
And you've been very supportive of mine and given me some suggestions. You hate the curtains behind me.
I hate the whole setup. Yeah. I've told you that. But
yeah,
because I'm an artist, so I see things very visually.
Yeah.
And I think a backdrop should represent the podcast and the personality.
Mm-hmm.
But you plopped this podcast into a trailer that was already decorated.
Right.
So this is someone else's vision.
I think this is how it came. You know, this is a vintage trailer. I think this is supposed to look like it's from the 60s. I think this is exactly, it's sort of mid-century. And I like it. To me, it's kitschy. I don't think this is preventing me from having more listeners and viewers.
I don't like it.
Yes.
My taste is not that.
Yes.
And I'm just being honest. I'm not being critical. But if you said, Harlan, I want you to reimagine my podcast studio. Oh, man.
Yeah, I guess.
Wow. Goodbye to the granny curtains. Yeah.
What else has got to go?
Oh, that sign with there's just a giant wire hanging there.
Yeah, that's the wire for the sign. I know,
but it's why? It's
just, I don't know.
There's a mail slot.
Well, this is a Shasta, so that's where you put your magazines. That's where you put Life magazine, and Sports Illustrated. It's not supposed to, I guess.
What's wrong with Orny Adams? Let's start with all this.
Yeah, I mean the concept was I thought this is such a cool space.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the space. When you told me you're doing a podcast in this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, but I didn't think you were just going to leave the trailer as is. And I'm not insulting you, but it's just, I feel like there could be so much more going on the desk, on the thing.
Yeah, I think what I've realized this week.
Yeah.
Because I've been wanting to bring guests onto the podcast. The problem is that means I have to invite people.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work to invite them, to find the right people, and then also to manage them showing up, being on time, changing schedule. And then sometimes the worst thing is you don't have a good chemistry with your guest. Right. And you're just sitting there for an hour going, oh, my God, what is it? And
plus, I don't want people to know where I live. I'm a very private person. Like, you want me
live in a trailer.
Yeah.
You're not going to get robbed, dude.
Right.
You live in a trailer.
Right.
Like, hey, I think I need a new magazine rack.
I love this. And you're building a studio now inside your home.
Yeah.
Which I think is a mistake.
You do.
I do.
I love it where I'm going back and forth. You haven't even seen my...
I hate your podcast studio. I hate it. I hate the curtains.
There's no curtains.
There's no curtains. I hate your magazine rack.
Don't have one.
I hate the wires coming out of your side.
Don't have one. See, I'm already ahead of the game. That's 3.
Yeah.
I'm ahead.
No, I think... I know your living situation.
Yeah.
And to have... This means every time you go to the kitchen, you have to walk past your podcast studio. And for me, I've lived in enough tight spaces in my life where it was work and living. And I said, I'm never doing that again. I don't want to be reminded every day of, whether it's a success or failure or work or, I should be doing another podcast.
Right.
I don't want to be reminded of work.
Well, you know what I did is, so I have a house and I have a spare bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And all my family lives in Canada. And I know all your family lives in Boston or somewhere around there. And I have people sleeping in my guest room. I've had my house for 20 years. People have slept in there probably, if I add up the days, I bet it adds up to 2 months.
Right.
And I'm sitting there going, 20 years, 2 months. I'm going, I've got this nice room with a giant bed in it. I can pretend people are in there, or if my podcast makes me $100,000 a year, why don't I use this room to make me $100,000 instead of waiting for Aunt Beasley to come and do some old lady farts in the sheets?
But here's where I have a problem with this.
You don't
You've
like
already
Aunt Beasley.
You've already asked if your dad can stay with me next week because you don't have a spare bedroom.
Right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's what friends are for.
Yeah, and I never use my spare bedroom, but I'm not putting a studio in. No,
I'm going to talk you into it.
No, and not only that,
beautiful.
I don't let people stay with me. I don't. No.
Well, then why are you wasting that spare bedroom? You're in this old lady's trailer.
Because when I give a tour, I like to go, this is a spare bed. I go, yeah, it's a spare bedroom.
What if you go, this is your beautiful podcast studio where it's actually been decorated?
I know.
Dude, I'm going to talk you into it.
No, I'm going to go to, I think it's impossible, like what it took to do this second shot. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible to do a guest in here. You know, normally when you came here last time and we did audio, you were sitting across from me right here.
Yeah.
And it worked for audio. But now there's 3 cameras, there's lighting.
It's kind of fun, though. I got to say, it's intimate. And I love being in the trailer. I love the trailer. No one else has a podcast in a trailer.
Yeah, I found out why. It's impossible.
Yeah, it is tight, but it's really, it's almost like you got to rebuild the trailer set as a set.
You'd have to drill into whatever this is.
Yeah.
And you'd have to put, lighting and cameras, and this camera's, attached to the curtain rod with a, what do you call this? Like a clamp.
A claw or something.
Yeah, something. So it doesn't work for guests, but for me, I wanted to try and do a podcast alone. I've now done, this is the 37th episode.
Right.
And we should play the theme at some point, which you made for me. This is now the 32nd episode. 37. It's Orny Adams.
Orny, just
another rainy day in Florida. This is your Kevin.
Funny little friend. He's got crazy hair. He's got great big eyes.
We added electric guitar behind it.
What's his name, Kev? Orny. Adams. Put them together and what do you got?
We got Orny Adams. Yeah. And then it's a riff. And this is where I do the talk over. What's wrong with Orny Adams? Episode 47. Let's talk about Panera Bread. What's going on at Panera Bread?
What?
Yes, and my cable was out for 3 days. Do I have a right to complain with what's going on in Ukraine? Probably not. I did another rugby video. I got Harland Williams, my guest here. We're going to talk about the tour buses when we heckle them and when I went fishing in Florida.
Oh, yes.
Now we're going to bring it down. Let's,
God.
Yeah, so, the whole thing, the whole podcast was, supposed to be organic.
Yeah.
So, you made this song for me. You didn't make this as a podcast song, and I asked you and your cousin Kevin, who's a legitimate musician.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in the Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah, he's the real deal. I just wing it.
And he's like a real artist. Like you've done albums. You did what was that, a Bowie cover?
No, we've actually got a group called the Cousins. Me and Kevin have put out 3 albums of legitimate songs.
But what was that song you shared with me? I thought it was a Bowie, or was it Billy Idol, or
Eyes Without a Face. Yeah, we did a cover version of it.
Yeah, that was, it's amazing.
So, it is? It's still rough. It's not even produced
Put it out.
yet.
Put it out.
Oh, thanks.
Put it out. Yeah, it's like it's like the curtains. It's an automatic. Yeah. Kevin's a real artist, and he is.
He is. He's a real musician.
Well, if you take Bare Naked Ladies and then you take his solo stuff, it's completely different.
Yeah, it's totally different. Yeah, he's like a real kind of art. Yeah, he has his own artistic musical vision, like every guy in the band does. But
it's so different. Like when Keith Richards does his own music and Mick Jagger, you go, this sounds like Mick Jagger without Keith Richards, and this sounds like Keith Richards without Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
It's just completely different. And you're sort of the same way. Like, you're a comic that makes me laugh, which is rare.
Rare.
And you're just naturally talented, and you're bubbling with creativity too, like your shirt. Like you make these shirts.
I draw my own shirts.
He made one for me after I had a sighting of an eagle. Remember that during COVID?
No, it was a hawk. A gold leaf hawk.
It was a hawk.
Yeah.
And Harland said, "Do you know what kind of hawk that is?" And I said, "That's a gold leaf hawk." Like without thought.
No thought, no respect to nature, no respect to Audubon, if he's still alive. But like just complete disregard.
Well, it was
for aviation.
I was confident. I was completely confident that was.
Yeah.
I looked up. I thought I saw a gold leaf, so I said that's a gold leaf hawk. Because you challenge me. I hate when people challenge me.
It's obvious you have a God complex because who creates species? God, the creator.
Yes.
And in that moment, I said, "What is that?" And you made up your own species as if you were the Almighty.
But the Almighty created it. But at some point, somebody had to name it. Wow. And am I God's assistant now? Like, who's to say I'm not right? Who's to say the first person that, what kind of hawk was that, as it turns out?
That was a red-tailed hawk.
Right, there was no red.
Yeah, I can assure you. Are red.
Okay, well, when it's flying.
That's why it's a red-tailed hawk.
It's circling. Okay, but I saw a yellow wing. What did I call it?
A gold leaf.
I saw.
No, you didn't see anything. You just had a knee. The second you looked up, you just went, gold leaf hawk.
Yeah.
There was no thought at all put into it. It's like the cards you give at Christmas. No thought at all.
I thought it was very in the moment, and I was there.
It was.
Yeah. And then we post the video. This was during COVID.
Yeah.
And of course, the comments are, where are the masks? What are you doing out of the house? Remember we were locked in our houses for a time?
Yeah.
And I remember there was a time, and for people listening, Harlan and I I think we became closer during this shutdown.
Yeah, we did.
Because what we did was we started walking every street in Los Angeles. Yeah. And I actually drove, remember we went down Ventura?
Yeah, Ventura and Melrose.
And Santa Monica and Beverly and 3rd.
Beverly Hills. We walked through Beverly Hills. Remember we met the racist joke teller?
Oh, he was your fan.
A fan of mine walked up to us and started doing like Jewish and N-word jokes to us. And I was like, dude, no. Yeah. Remember? It was like bizarre. In Beverly Hills.
Yeah, you were like, and it's always an awkward moment where it's between racism and losing a fan. And you handled it well. Like sometimes you have to go, hey, listen, that's not cool. Like I've had to say that too. It's weird because then you start to second guess yourself. You're like, these are the people that respect me. Like
it was awful.
Yeah,
I called him out. No, that's what he started to tell like an N-word joke or a Mexican joke.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, that's not cool. I said, well, what are you? What's your nationality? He goes, well, I'm Jewish. And I said, well, how would you feel if someone started and I actually saw a light bulb go off in his eyes. So it was a learning moment for the race, for that guy.
Yeah.
But, it was just, it's so weird when people do that.
Yeah. Anyways. These are the people leaving the house during COVID. Us and,
Unreal. In Beverly Hills, of all places.
Didn't we find a piece of doo-doo on the ground with a cigarette?
With a cigarette sticking out of it. A piece of dog turd with a Camel cigarette sticking out.
It's really, really bizarre.
It's probably that, have you ever see the emoji with the eyes on it?
Yeah, so
it was probably him out for a smoke break.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then we were videotaping it like we were making,
Well, you were.
Yeah.
I was grossed out.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get away from it, and you got right down low, and suddenly you were Coppola with a smoking turd.
I thought, this is it. This is going to break me on the internet.
It's like Apocalypse Poo all of a sudden. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? People are racists are watching us.
Yeah.
In Beverly Hills.
Our fans.
Well, you film a piece of turd with a Camel light. Who are you?
Yeah. Oh, boy. Is everything okay? Is your camera recording? Do you see like a red light on in there? Does it say recording? Wouldn't that be a colossal mistake?
I don't know.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. This camera, if you notice,
it is a camera.
Yeah, look at it's all encircled in red. The little screen. That's how you know that's recorded.
That's how you know. I just thought it was angry. Thought it was seeing red because it had to film you.
What's CRAVE? What is
CRAVE is, thank you for asking, CRAVE is my new book, my collection of short stories. It just came out like 4 days ago.
Wow.
So it's kind of a new venture for me. It's my second book. The first one's called Don't Look Under the Bed. and they're collections of short stories. There's 3 per book.
We've discussed some of these stories on the walk. Yeah, it's great.
And so this one has a story about a dilapidated...
Can I look at it?
Has a dilapidated animal sanctuary.
It's heavy.
There's a story about a girl standing on a bridge about to commit suicide. And then CRAVE, the third story, is a story about zombies, but unlike how you've ever seen zombies before. They're created in quite an unusual and violent manner. So
this is...
So I'm excited. It's kind of a new thing for me to do, but I love doing it. I love sitting down, especially through COVID, because when you write these stories, it transports you into the world you're writing, and so it just takes you away. And I've always been a bit self-conscious about it because that's not my wheelhouse, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to finally put them out in the world and just let people decide if they like it or not.
So it's therapeutic, the writing.
It's therapeutic, and it's fun, and it's creative, and it keeps my imagination going, and it's inspiring. I love to do it.
Do you know what font this is?
That is Zombie font. That's CRAVE.
I believe this is gold leaf.
Wow.
Times 10 Roman is what I'm under the... I could be wrong. I'll Google it. It's a very heavy book. Did you...
It's heavy.
Why is it so...
It's not because it's dense. It's like 300 pages, and it's heavy material.
It's got a barcode, so it's a real... This is real. Is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. You can go to Amazon.com and type in CRAVE by Harland Williams, and you can order a paperback, or you can get a version on Kindle or for your cell phone.
I still like to hold and physically read a book, and I circle stuff and I write notes. Yeah.
Okay.
I do the dog tag thing. I look forward to.
Thank you.
I'll order it.
Thank you, buddy.
And the what about the shirts? Because people can order those too. I don't want to turn this into the Harland Williams Etsy commercial.
No, but this is so I'm an artist as well.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of, we live in a world of brand names and logos, and as an artist, I wanted to offer people something that was one of a kind, original, and so I draw right on the shirts with Sharpie, and you can own your own original piece of artwork. I call it wearable art, and I created a website called harbling.com. Harbling.com, where you can go and peruse the T-shirts and buy an original shirt if you want.
It seems like you're all over the place. Do you think you should focus on one? You're stand-up, you're an actor.
I've thought of that.
You created TV shows, you're doing shirts, you're doing books.
I've thought of that, and at this point, it's too late. I've been doing stand-up, movies, TV, writing, podcasts, singing, animation. I've realized in life I think that's what fuels me. I get stimulated by doing new things. And I know there's that old adage, focus on one thing and just be good at that.
That's what Joplin said, right? Janis Joplin, you got to do one thing right. And this was in a song to make it. And that's the way sometimes I wonder if we're splitting focus too much.
I know. I think about that. And I wonder if it hurts me or helps me. But I know to live, to be inspired and get up, it's just the way I'm wired. I can't shut it off.
Yeah.
There's days where I go, I'm going to stop everything and just get up every day and write jokes and be the best stand-up comedian in the world. But I already feel like I'm good at being a stand-up comedian. So I don't know. Sometimes I battle with that.
My battle is, my assessment of myself is, and I base this on the feedback I get when I'm on stage. Yeah. I feel like I'm good at stand-up.
You're great at stand-up.
It's probably what I'm best at,
you're
right?
Good. You're great.
So if I'm not succeeding at that at the level I feel like I should, why am I going to try? Like, going into podcasting, which I did, I thought I was too ambitious. You were on episode number 2. Remember, I would cut clips together.
Oh, yeah.
I had Kevin sending clips.
You had a crew in here. You had
crew.
3 guys in the back of the trailer, helping.
Yeah.
You were, kind of stressed, I could see.
Right. And it would take months to script these out,
right,
and to sort of go out on the road and get interesting clips of people talking, and then do interstitial, sort of talk over it and tell a story. And guess what? Nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit. Like, the effort, even on this, when I'm doing it alone, I'll pull clips off the internet and I'll talk. Nobody Like if I saw another comic like pulling clips off of TV shows or whatever, because usually it's like this. It's like, hey, Bill, put up a clip of so and so. Let's, and then they talk over, and the Bill, hold on, let's see if I can get something.
Yeah.
Or pull up this Wikipedia. Like it was all, and I thought I would be rewarded for the effort. And in this lifetime, feels like it's gone the other way. Like if you watch, like TikTok or Instagram, what's rewarded is spontaneity and sort of catching something that's real.
Yeah, it's just the way it is, and the fun thing about art, about podcasting is that there is no real recipe, and you have to find your way, and you have to adjust. Right. I did my podcast for 11 years. It was just an audio podcast called The Harland Highway, and it did mediocre, but I always thought with 7 billion people on the planet, surely I could at least get 100,000.
Right.
At its peak, I think I had between 6,000 and 10,000 per episode.
If I got 10% of my audience that's on Instagram or Twitter, Facebook, I'd be a multimillionaire.
Yeah. Well, to me, the money's rewarding, but it's just to know you're doing this work and you're putting something out and people are wanting to hear it, and it's kind of, filling out their day with something that's funny or meaningful to them. And so it's but that's what art is. You just got to keep adjusting. It's like stand-up, it's when I started stand-up, I went through 5 or 6 different iterations of who I was on stage and I'm still changing all the time.
Right.
So that's the beauty of art. And the good thing is that you're able to look at what's working and not working and make the change, which is cool for me to see in you.
Well, you have to. Well, we go on hikes all the time, and if you, maybe some people follow the Instagram where we heckle the tour buses.
Yeah,
and we're sort of at the same point in life where we're both, we're not the young kid they're chasing, and we're sort of trying to figure out what is the landscape now.
Yeah, it's so bizarre because we came up through such a traditional kind of pathway that existed kind of from the time we got into the industry. It's been the norm for the last 30 years.
Right.
Work the clubs, get seen, go on the Tonight Show, work
sitcom, movies.
Yeah, and now it's like, show a picture of you making French toast for 40 seconds and some funny underpants on Instagram, and that's your pathway now.
Right.
So for guys like us and many others, by the way, who have kind of walked this traditional road, it's the wild, wild west again.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you have to adjust. And if your podcast isn't working showing clips, you switch gears and you gotta, like, that's what I'm doing with my podcast for 11 years. It was all audio. So when I bring mine back, and by the way, this is the first place you're hearing it. I haven't told anyone I'm bringing it back, but you kind of pulled it out of me.
That's right.
I'm going to be doing this format where it's visual as well. So that's something new for me, but that's something that seems to be working and people want, and so here we go.
But even because I vacillate, I go back and forth between I do it because
I just say I don't like when you say you vacillate.
I vacillate.
No, I don't need to hear that. It's just
I go back and forth. Because I'll say, I'll be righteous. I'll be like, I'm doing this because I have something to say and I want to get the word out. And and if they tune in and listen, like that was my philosophy at the beginning. They tune in. Well, not enough people tuned in.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's never,
humbling.
It's humbling. It's not enough. It's like, you'll do a show and the show goes great and you think they're going to go back and listen to your pod. Nobody, because you'll say, hey, like, they're like, oh, I love the show. Then I go, I have a podcast. It's sort of like this. And like, okay, got to go. They don't.
Well, the other thing you have to accept possibly is that they did go and listen and it didn't resonate with them. And so they listened and went, and they walked away. Because it's hard to believe that at least, like, let's say you have an audience of 2,000 over a weekend and you tell all of them at the end of your show you've got this podcast.
I don't. I always forget.
Well, if you did or wherever you are, it's hard to believe that some of them wouldn't check it out. And so I had a large platform when I had my podcast. I was plugging it when I did the Tonight Show and Conan and everywhere, all the radio stations when I go into a town, and the audience didn't build. So that told me something. As much as I loved it,
Yeah.
the world wasn't loving it as much. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine me sitting in this cramped space by myself, talking to this camera and then that camera and then that camera, and, you know, doing these, like, I'd write out a sort of a bit, and I can't imagine people really listening, because, and I don't know why, maybe it's a lack of confidence, but I can see why mine hasn't done as well as, and that's why I'm shifting. I'm like, well, I gotta get a guest in, and this has been 2 or 3 days now of adjusting the cameras and the lighting and moving stuff outside of the trailer, like the old lighting for me. And you've been very critical, and my agent's been very critical of too many camera angles, and just speak to one and speak to the audience.
By the way, not critical, constructive criticism.
Yeah, I get it.
Because I'm very careful not to criticize people, because artists like you and everyone are sensitive, and sometimes they don't like to hear things, but I try to frame it in a way where I say, hey, man, just being a third eye, pretending I didn't know you and we didn't have a friendship. This is how your presentation is striking me. And I did find it distracting and disjointed and, to be honest, a little unnecessary. So,
yeah. But, you know, I thought everybody's doing a podcast, and they're doing it like this, and they've got their guest, and it doesn't, it feels like they just invited somebody in. There were no topics that were pre-planned. There was no structure. And these people are making a lot of money. I thought, I'm really organized, and I love, so I'm going to take my skill set, and I'm really into cameras and editing, and I'm going to make it like a video, so it's engaging, exciting. And I think it was a fail. I think it's distracting, perhaps.
You know what? And maybe it would work if you kept doing it for another year or whatever. I don't know the answer, but I know, as a guy who is also into cameras and immersed in the media world and podcasts and all that, and as a director and stuff, and knowing you more than anything, and your comedy and your style, I felt you were sort of stepping on yourself. And you, just as a streamlined guy like Direct, it's much more intimate. It's not as staged, and I think it just gets you across better.
It'd be so much less work for me, be so much less editing, because I take this footage, not that anybody cares, and then I color correct.
Yeah, you do a lot. You would tell me, audio, you're like, I've been working on this for 4 days, and 20 hours a day, and I was like, we talk about, it's like, man, you're doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it's one thing if the numbers are jumping up and up and up, but like they were sort of flatlining, and that you got to listen to that, you know. And it's humbling, but it's also part of being an artist, and it's just good that you can adjust, and hopefully find something that works better.
Yeah, and then it's hard for me, like, what was that?
That's how I drink pop.
We call it pop.
When you suck on the pop,
what?
You suck it out, and what happens with pop is you have this metal lip, and when you suck on it, pop foams up. Yeah, but you shake it.
But I drink pop, and I've never made that sound.
Right. Well, you can't, because when you suck, you're making high pressure, so you're pulling it across the lip.
You don't suck.
Yeah, listen.
No. Stop there.
That was a suck.
No.
Foams in your mouth. It's like an airbag going off.
Gravity. Do you know what gravity is?
Yeah.
Hold it above your nose, so it's a natural stream into your mouth.
Yeah, but it doesn't foam up.
It's not supposed to foam up. No. What do you want? Pop rocks?
Well, that's the effect you get. It makes it fun. It's like fun.
But we're not here to have fun. We're doing a podcast.
I know, but my mouth wants to have fun because it's doing the talking. I don't want to have fun, and God knows I'm not. But my mouth wants to.
Yeah, we're having a major disconnect.
Yeah.
You've got 2 of the best cameras on you. This one...
That's the way it should be.
Okay.
I'm really here because, in L.A. there's a lot of car violence. There's drive-bys and stuff like that. I'm hoping, being in your trailer, at some point a car pulls up with a trailer hitch and pulls us and takes us on a... When this is over, I want to step out and be in Bakersfield.
We're actually moving right now.
We are.
Yeah, we are.
Feels like it, because I felt sick at the moment I sat down.
Yeah. Is there... Try and take a sip without the...
I don't like it, though. Why do you have to... Did I tell you how to drink your cud? What is that green stuff?
Are you doing this for comedic effect?
No, I've drank like... I swear to God, anybody that knows me, since boarding school when I was a little
Boarding school? Privilege. Okay.
Anyways, it's not as good with Diet Coke, by the way.
Yeah.
Real Coke, it really foams up. This is like a poor man's.
You don't drink coffee, so is that for the caffeine, or you just like the taste?
I love the fun. I love the way my mouth bubbles up like someone dropped an Alka-Seltzer in my face. And
did you ever do the Pop Rocks with the soda? Yeah, those were the days.
I remember in theater arts class when I was in Catholic school, we'd have to sit in a, what are those things called? Portables? Remember I'm
Jewish.
Are you serial?
Yeah.
Okay, so am I. But I went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
And we had a theater arts class, and it was always dark. There were no windows and everything. And we had a priest, Father Fazakary.
Yeah, was that his real name?
Yeah, it was his real name, with a turtleneck sweater and salt stains under his arm. It was like
nasty.
And he was really he was an old guy, like probably in his probably mid-60s, like an old priest. And when Pop Rocks came out, me and 2 or 3 of the other guys, we'd have to sit on the wall and watch him be up there. You've got to believe, people, And he's sitting there being dramatic. And we have the Pop Rocks in our mouth. But when you go like this, when you smile, they just clack against the back of your teeth, like 3,000 of them.
Yeah, it's great.
And so it just sounds like there's an electrical. And we'd sit there just be like watching him, and he'd be like, "What is that noise?" Like he couldn't.
Yeah.
Because he's so old, he had no way to fathom that there was a candy invented that exploded in kids' mouths and would clack against their teeth.
It made no sense, that candy.
Dude, we were, when you're not allowed to laugh and you're laughing, and we'd just be like, inside we were like wheezing. We looked like children of the corn. We're just like sitting there smiling. It was just like, oh, there are those funny things in childhood.
When's the last time you laughed like that?
Oh, recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, what was I? I was telling a guy a story. Oh, yes, telling a guy, believe it or not, how weird is this? I was telling a guy the other night about the same priest who was in theater. Somehow it came up Star Trek.
Yeah.
And one day Father Fazakary said, I want you all to develop a character, and I want you to take a famous character, and I want you to become that character, and I want you to believe people. He always used to say, I want you to believe people. Uh-huh. And so one of the guys in our class went up and did a monologue, and he always stressed, stay in character, people, believe, And so he did Mr. Spock. And so he went up, and I guess because he's so old, he didn't get it. And he goes, that was horrible. And, he goes, do you understand me, boy? And the guy just went, affirmative, Captain. And the priest his eyes lit up. And it was just like, for some reason, I was telling this guy the other night, I was buckled over. Dumb story, but to me it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, because I look at like kids now, like in groups, and they don't seem to we used to have fun.
Yeah, they're on their phones.
They're on their phones. Like when they take pictures, they could be 50. Sometimes young people want to take pictures because of Teen Wolf. That show Teen Wolf, and it had a younger demographic, and they want to take picures. And these young these young women get into this pose that is seductive, and it makes me uncomfortable. We didn't know how to pose when we were kids. We'd put our arms around each other, and we'd be draped
I still do it. My pose is
yeah, remember this? Remember that was the worst thing you could do to somebody.
You were a
rebel. Rabbit ear.
Yeah. You were like Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols. Yeah.
It seems like there's no innocence and there's no laughter anymore. And you're right, they're all on their phones.
Well, they don't create the laughter because the laughter's in the phone. They go, hey, look at this. It's funny, dude.
Yeah.
And then instead of coming up with the funny, they're looking at the funny. But you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, kids are funny, but I'm being a bit crotchety, but...
Are you? That's the one thing we don't want to turn into is the old bitter.
I know. I saw a guy driving up here. I'm driving up Laurel Canyon, and I see a guy walking down Laurel Canyon, which you shouldn't be doing. Yeah. It's like a death road.
Yep.
But it's a guy, he probably, if I'm guessing his age, probably late 30s, early 40s, walking down the road with a skateboard. And my first thought was, dude, at what age do you lose the skateboard?
Right. Unless you're Tony Hawk.
Right, but even then.
I know, it looks a little...
But then I went in my head and I go, well, wait, what am I thinking? What is it any of my business? Why am I judging?
It is.
And it's like, am I thought that, am I the old crotchety guy now? Like, who cares if the guy's 60? I should be celebrating an old guy on a skateboard. It shows he's youthful and vibrant, but here I am. Dude, at what age do you get rid of the skateboard? You know, like, it's weird. You just become that guy.
But you also don't want to be career bitter. Like, you don't want to be angry at the young people that are doing well because they have a TikTok account that explodes.
No.
And that's
I
what's
applaud
hard.
that, actually.
But it's hard, you know. Are you back on TikTok?
I'm trying to get on. I was verified, and then I got off it during COVID because it was just all this negative stuff. But now I've heard it's sort of changed, and it's a lot more fun. And so I'm trying to get my account back reactivated. I can't imagine, again, much like this podcast, that anybody's enjoying my content, because I'll put up stand-up clips. Like, I'll put up like a 30-second fast clip. Yeah.
Or even the one the other day was 10 seconds. It's, we have scented trash bags. If your trash smells like trash, take it out. You know, it's like from my special, and they're cheering and whatever. Just put that up there just to see if it can catch on. Well, the stand-up clips get very, very little traction. But if you just talk, like I did one about 3 weeks ago when I was in North Carolina. You played that club.
Yeah.
Great club. I go to Panera next door. You ever go to Panera?
Yeah, I love that. What does it mean, by the way?
I think it means...
Sounds like a solar system somewhere.
No.
We are going to Panera. Fasten your seatbelt.
It's actually Italian for bread.
So it's not a solar system.
No, it's not a solar
system. I was
system.
a little bit off.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Elon.
Okay.
God.
Elon knows nothing about... I can say the word bread. I can say carbohydrates in about 50 different languages. So if I go to any country, I can get my bread.
Are you cereal?
Yeah. Pane. So I go into Panera.
Yeah.
Panera. And expecting to see, you know, the stars, the planetarium.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So there's nobody in there.
Okay.
I thought they were closed. I didn't know if they were held up. You used to go, I hate to sound old, like I have a friend who was yelling at a guy walking with a skateboard that was like 40. He's like, get a Porsche, you know. So I walk into Panera and there's nobody there. There's nobody dining there. There's nobody.
Sound angry about it.
I'm still confused.
Yeah.
So there's a register that's dusty. That's not even used anymore.
Are you sure you weren't at the haunted house in Disneyland or something?
So I've got to go. I notice there's 4 computer terminals. Now, all of a sudden, I work at Panera. Now, I'm like, what can I get you? So I got to go. I had to order my own salad. I had to modify it because I didn't want to.
Oh, it was like a tablet or something?
No, it was like a computer. You order it.
Oh, right. I did that yesterday at an udon place, but keep going.
Yeah, and then, so now I still haven't seen anybody. Yeah. And they said, I order, I go to checkout, and it says tip. Now, right, and it was like a $20 purchase with my drink. By the way, the drink cup is right there. I'm paying for it. It's like the honor system.
Wait, so they asked you if you wanted to tip yourself?
I don't know who I was tipping at this point.
You should have tipped big.
I tipped
to you. I would have put down a few $500-600.
$5. I put $5 down.
You're worth more than that.
Because I thought these people are working when there's been a post-pandemic that nobody wants to work. Like we've turned into a world where nobody works. This fascinates me.
Yeah.
No, everybody's quit their jobs, but they're still paying rent somehow.
Yeah.
Like nobody, this is like everyone's just left their work and people that were working in retail are now they're too good to work in retail.
Yeah.
That's the new thing. But yet, at the same time, I saw a guy the other day driving one of those porta potty trucks, cleaning porta potties, picking them up. I go, if that guy's still working, like how come he hasn't left that job and he's now working at Starbucks or something?
Yeah.
So I tipped $5. This is Panera.
Wait, who are you tipping?
I'm not.
You did it all yourself.
Well, at this point, I'm thinking there's got to be people working here, and they aren't getting paid enough. And I make enough money that I like to. This is how I give back.
Yeah.
Being righteous. I think. And then I had to take my own buzzer. I had to put my number in.
Get out.
In the computer. So I'm number 55. And then I walk to the table. The buzzer goes off. I go to a window to pick up the food. The food's sitting there. Still nobody. I'm sticking my head in the back like this going, is there anybody here? Nobody. I eat. I finish. and it says, bus your own table. So now I take my tray, bus it, and I didn't see a single person the entire time I was there.
Come on.
I'm not even kidding. I made an entire video of it. I put it up. So, like, TikTok, if you're scrolling, you're seeing, like, beautiful people dancing, beautiful people, you know, this, and fun, quick videos, and then my minute video on Panera. So I'm probably not using TikTok properly either, but I thought that was interesting. I guess this is what we've come to.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying earlier about people wanting more organic experiences versus structured. And what could be more structured than a bit from an act, right? Because, you know, you crafted that joke, and as great as it is, it's when you watch it, it's clearly a written joke versus you just going into Panera.
Right.
I've done the same thing. I'll put stuff that I shoot. Like, I actually have cuts and stuff, little skits on my Instagram, and I'll get 5,000-6,000 views. But then this Saturday, I had a gig at the Improv here in Hollywood, and I was like, you know what, I'm hungry. And on the way home at like 10 o'clock at night, it's a Saturday night, I thought it's kind of lame that I have nowhere to go and nothing to do. I'm a hot happening guy. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to Arby's. So I went to Arby's, and I thought, why don't I shoot my experience at the drive-through, but make it seem like this is the place to be.
Yeah.
So I'm driving there, and I recorded it. I'm like, hey, give me some curly fries, player.
Yeah.
I got to have some horsey sauce on my roast beef, G. And I did all this, and this thing's got like 20,000 views. Like,
where is this?
It's on my Instagram.
Wow.
But this was Saturday night, and it's like all these huge hits. And to me, in my head, I'm like, I'd much rather watch a crafted joke because it's boom, 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 boom. But you're right. People are digging stuff that's just kind of happening in real time. But this is the transition we're learning.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how do we capitalize on all this. So when we started out, again, there was basically a singular path. You did stand up to the point that you got recognized, you got a deal. We both probably got deals. I got
multiple deals.
Multiple deals.
Yeah.
And these deals were, you know, 6 figures. And this is what so the goal was that. And then if the show got picked up, you'd make millions. That was now it's sort of like, I'm making money on TikTok. I don't want to brag. I've made $91 in the few weeks that I've been doing it.
I'm drinking $1.12 of it.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a lot less than that, unless inflation. Then you have Patreon. So now I put this video up on Patreon. Yep. That was your suggestion.
Yep.
Might not have been the correct choice because, again, not as many people came over from YouTube as I thought. But what I don't want to give everything for free. I got into an argument with my we'll call it team. Yeah. So I'm not outing the person. They wanted me to take my last special, which you were at. You sat in the audience.
Yeah, amazing.
More than loud. I spent 3 days getting this up on Amazon. 3 days. Yeah. You know the process. Yeah. It has to be the exact right video format. They have to take what it was the cover art before, which is fine for everybody else. Amazon's reshaped it. So now you have to hire a graphic designer to reshape it and move shit. And thank God I'm such a control freak that I had all the original files from the original, graphic designer. Then so I'm almost at the end. You had to create an account. You had to put in all your billing address. You have to, all this shit, W-9s. Then it says subtitles. Now I need subtitles. So now I'm hiring, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I really thought I was going to be beyond this in my career, but I guess I'm not. So now I had to hire a subtitle company, and I call I'm at the point where I got it back from the subtitle company, and it was like they did such a great job, and I was so happy with myself. And my team calls, someone from my team says, just put it up on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is something that I worked really hard on. This is something that has value to me. I'm sorry. No, just, if more people see it, then more people will go to your show. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I have to put a value on what I do, or I feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah, this is the dilemma we're in. And sometimes you do have to put it up for free and hope that 3 million people flock to it, and then that gives it the value.
But all of MySpace, of Facebook, Instagram, even MySpace, Twitter, what else?
AOL.com.
Yeah, even TikTok, which I've been on for just a couple of months, I have a much wider or bigger audience than YouTube. Nobody watches me on YouTube. So now I'm going to take what I consider to be something very dear to me that I worked hard on that I still love, and just give it away and then it gets a few hundred views. Like, I'd rather make some money and have a sense of dignity. And this is what's wrong. I'm sick of everybody wanting everything for free too. It's like, listen, I work my ass off on this podcast, and I like, if people support it, great.
Yeah.
You know, like...
you're not putting a gun to someone's head. If they want to support it, they can support it.
But we've gone in our lifetime from people willing to pay for content to now it's all got to be free.
Yeah. Well, it's free until you figure out a way to, lack of a better term, hook them in. You know, you've heard about comics that are completely unknown, and they put an hour of stand-up on the thing, and suddenly they've got 6 million viewers. Right. So they take that 6 million and then turn it into something fiscal.
I guess
it's a chess game. You got to figure it out, and that's the world we're in. That's and just not guys in our zone. It's young guys have to figure it out too. It's just, and a lot of it, it's like real showbiz too. Sometimes it's some luck. Sometimes you just put the right thing up at the right time. But that's sort of what makes it fun. I think if it was just a plug and play process, it'd be.
You love it. You love, because when we hike, you're like, no, I love it. I'm going to crack it.
I like the challenge of it.
I'm getting tired of the challenge. I'm thinking,
it can wear you down.
Yeah, like part of me, like, I joke about retiring all the time.
Yeah,
which I wish I could, but I think I really mentally need. I need this. I feel when I don't do shows, I don't realize how much I need the shows until I do a show. And I'm like, wow, I needed this.
Yeah.
But part of me is like, you know what? Maybe I put a cap on it. I'm going to do 1,000 more shows in my lifetime, and then that's it.
You could.
You
could.
Well, I was hoping you'd talk me out of it. But
a lot of time it's not the mind, it's the spirit that dictates that stuff. You can say, I'm going to stop at 65, or I'm only going to do 1,000 shows, but the human spirit doesn't have boundaries.
Yeah.
It keeps flowing. And if it wants you to do 5,000 more shows, then it's going to pull you there, man.
Yeah.
It's the beauty of the human spirit.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about my fishing skills?
Well, do we know of any skills? That's...
We met up in Florida.
Yeah, we went fishing.
Yes.
And skills might not be the operative word
here.
Well,
and this is sort of my character, and this was the character that I was doing in that documentary that I was in, and the character that I bring up on stage is this arrogant character that, looks up and says, gold leaf. That's a gold leaf hawk.
Yeah.
With complete confidence. That to me, that's the buffoonery. That's the fun. And so we went fishing. I go, how hard could this be?
Yeah.
You take a hook, you put something on the hook, and then you just throw the string out. It can't.
The string.
There's no difference between what you're telling me that this makes sense. There's no difference. So I said, I'm going to do, for social media, I'll do a video of instructional video.
Yeah.
Literally the fishing man out of water.
Yeah.
And so I go to cast. We're taping this the first time. This is take one. What happened?
You jammed the fishing reel, and instead of the lure going 70 feet out into the ocean, it went about 12 feet, locked, and the lure, which is about that big, a silver lure with 3 hooks on it, swirled back and hooked you.
It got me right in the finger.
Yeah, got you right in the hand.
It was so weird because you can hear it go... You can see the line going out, and a second later, it's in. I caught myself.
Yeah.
And
it just came swirling right back. It was perfect.
And then I put that up on TikTok, and it got taken down for being too violent. It violated their violence clause.
Well, also you made a joke being Jewish. You said, "Hey, I caught a Jew."
Right. That's funny.
And so I'm wondering if they took that down because they don't know you're Jewish, so maybe they thought it was an anti-Semitic remark.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I mean, yeah.
And I said to you, there actually is a species of fish called a Jewfish.
It's not even a good-looking fish.
So on all levels, that comment was legit. You caught yourself, you're Jewish. There is a Jewfish.
Yeah.
I mean, TikTok better get to the synagogue and get some schooling.
Yeah, I agree. Do you want to explain mathematically why our tour bus videos are so funny?
Well, so what we do is when we go on our hikes, we end up walking on part of the route where the Hollywood tour buses go, and they look for celebrities and they look for celebrity homes, and They point out famous celebrity landmarks, like the Hollywood sign, or this is where
they make up houses where celebrities live.
This
they
is where the Manson murders happen.
Yeah.
And so when we're walking along, we do this bit where we pretend that you or I are a famous celebrity. We give you a name like Matt Damon or Leonardo DiCaprio. And then one of us films, and as the bus is pulled over to look, we yell and we point. We go, "Hey, it's Robert Downey Jr." And then, we yell, and then we say, "Do some lines from your movie," and then we do lines that are from other movies.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what we do. And it's funny because the people in the bus, when they get on these tour buses, they have an expectation to. It's like when you charter a fishing boat. You hope you catch a fish.
Yeah. You want to see a whale.
You really
the whale.
want to.
Yeah.
And even if it's a small fish, it's like, I caught a fish.
Yeah.
So these people are dying to see something from the celebrity world. So now all of a sudden we offer them, Leonardo DiCaprio or Tom Hanks, and half of them in the bus are kind of like, they're ready to bite off.
Oh, they start filming. They're excited.
Oh, they go nuts.
And we commit to it. We never come out of character. There's that one video where I got into a fight with a guy. He goes, "You can't handle the truth."
Yeah, he was doing your lines back with you.
Yeah, I think it's so funny because we're both somewhat recognizable.
That's right.
You know, I think you get recognized more than me. I'm sort of like, I noticed at the gym yesterday, a lot of people, like, I walk in and they go, they do that look, and they don't know. They know me, but they don't know from what. They don't know. Maybe we went to college together. Maybe I'm on some. Like, I'm sort of familiar.
Yeah.
But the people, like, they recognize you from Dumb and Dumber or what, your own shows. You've done a lot of TV. And what's funny is that we have enough confidence that we're willing to sort of like, we're sort of celebrities mocking celebrity.
Yeah.
And I think they're rich. I love them.
I love them. For me, it's more just a piss take on the whole celebrity culture. It's the whole fact that we adore celebrities and we think they walk on water and they're holier than thou. And so just to me, it's like the deconstruction of celebrity when we do that. It's like it's a total mockery of the whole thing. It's like going down the red carpet in a garbage bag. It's just like, so I enjoy that, and pulling the public into that is kind of very amusing to me.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Before we wrap up,
yes,
because this has been fantastic. It's gone longer than I expected it to.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like a real conversation, which is what I wanted.
Well, I made most of it up, just so you know.
Yeah.
That's just a little disclaimer. Except for this. That was real.
Like a vacation for your mouth.
That's right. Now you got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find, I find, so one of the reasons I haven't done a podcast in a couple of weeks was because of this war in Ukraine.
Okay.
And I find it so disheartening. Like right now, there's people being killed.
Awful.
Right now. Innocent
By the way,
people.
Happening on any given day, whether it's a war in Ukraine or not, but.
Right. But the news is focused on this, and it's like these people, they're innocent people. They're trying to flee this country. This war should have never been started, and it makes my blood boil. It makes me question why I'm even doing anything. If there's even humans out there that exist like this, and then I feel sort of irresponsible. Like, if you notice, I'm not putting out clips. I was doing these series of rugby videos on TikTok. I stopped doing those because it's like, what is this? Fair. Like, my brand is to complain. The name of this podcast is What's Wrong with Orny Adams?
Yeah.
And I'm going to come out and I'm going to tell you, my cable's been out for 3 days.
Yeah.
Right? Which has upended my entire life because we need cable and Wi-Fi, both out. But how can I complain about that when this is going on in the Ukraine?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great perspective, and you got to wake up with that every day. And not let little things in life, and kind of the privileged life we have, and I'm not talking about white privilege, I'm talking about North American privilege. We have a good life. Even people that are suffering in this life in North America have lots of social assistance and help and charity and compassionate people that want, whereas in some countries, none of that exists. So I think every day it's important to count your blessings, and don't stop what you're doing because feeling guilty about being funny or putting out a clip isn't helping anything. isn't helping the situation. But when you do put out what you're gifted with, you might be helping someone who's having a down day or a bummer day or thinking about the war and going, what's the purpose of life and why are there such bad people? And then they see you do something and it puts some joy in their heart, and it's all a balance.
Yeah.
And it's tough that humans are consistently bad. There's bad humans, and it's just wired into our DNA, and it's a constant daily struggle to fight that battle of good and bad. And
what's amazing is there's people that make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Then there are people that sort of leave it the way it is. That's me. Like I'll recycle. I do my best, but I'm not proactively volunteering or creating things that make the world better. And then there are these pieces of shit that are ruining the world.
Yeah.
And making it worse. And it's like we just had a 2-year pandemic where we couldn't leave the house, where our finances were screwed with, where our social lives were screwed with, our heads were screwed with, our business lives were screwed with, and we're just coming out of this. We're actually week of coming out of it. We're week 1 coming out of this pandemic where this Omicron variant is gone. We've got it under control. And then the invasion of Ukraine. It's like, when can we have some air? When can we just go...
Well, you have to put it in context. A, it's never going to end as long as humans are humans. And B, you have to kind of go, we came through 2 years of what? Being stuck in our nice homes and at any moment being able to order a pizza, a movie, or a lobster.
I know, it's ridiculous. I got cold beer delivered from Amazon during this pandemic.
So as torturous as it was, it's like... I've been to countries where I've seen children in a ditch eating beside a dog. I've
Is that Canada?
That was Cambodia. No, it can happen anywhere. And there are places in the States and in Canada where that does happen.
I know.
So it's just the human condition, and you just have to. At least I look at this is all a rolling snowball, and it's painful, and there's torturous moments, but I have to believe in the back of my head it's leading, even though it's rolling downhill, it's leading up a hill so that one day we get over this hump and everything kind of corrects and we become this world where humans are at a different plane, a different level, and there are no more Hitlers and Mussolinis and bad people. But
why are we so optimistic as a species?
It's the same way some of us aren't, it's just the beauty, the yin and the yang of, I'll go back to it again, the human spirit. It's the spirit controls so much. Sometimes we're all born with brains and these kind of hardwired things, our spine and our brains, but the spirit is a flowing mystical thing that can go bad or good or sit in the middle, but it just won't let us settle. It just keeps the pot churning,
It's an adventure every day.
It is. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, if people want to get in touch with you, should we just give them out your telephone number? Is that the easiest?
All right. I'm still at 1-800.
Get legs?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Wow.
Get legs.
No, I'm at Instagram. You can catch my Instagram where I do put up a lot of comedy clips to help make the world a funnier, happier place, because that's what we do. We're joy merchants.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, we sell joy.
Yes,
Laughter equals joy. Yes. So that's even when you get down, think of that. So I'm at Instagram. And if you want to get my book, Crave, it's at Amazon.com. And lastly, my T-shirts at harbling.com, and you can wear your own Harland Williams art.
I love it. And for me, you can go to What's Wrong. TeamWhat'sWrong.com is a portal for everything. TeamWhat'sWrong.com.
Okay.
This video will be up on Patreon probably tomorrow. Patreon.com/Orny. I'm at Orny Adams for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is /OrnyFans, and then TikTok. Someone else has Orny Adams. and doing nothing with it. They won't give it to me. So I'm Orny Adams for real, for whatever reason. So, but if you want to email, because usually I answer emails and stuff like that, and that's sort of who I'm talking to. It's what's wrong at ornyadams.com. But this was really special because we have such a good friendship and bond, and we should do this more. And I'd love to be on your podcast.
Yeah, when I get it going, I will. And did you say this is airing tomorrow, possibly?
Probably, yeah.
Well, then let me add one thing. This weekend, I'll be in Corpus Christi, Texas, at the Mesquite Comedy Club. So
there you go.
It's my first time in that market. So come on out. And this was absolutely great and good for you for shifting and trying to find the right ingredients.
I love comedy clubs named after wood. I really do. Have you ever played the Sandalwood Comedy Club?
No, but 2 weeks from now, I'm at James Wood's Comedy Club.
Yeah.
James Wood's.
Yeah,
and Natalie Wood's House of Giggles is great.
Yeah,
too.
I used to perform at the Chinese Elm Comedy Club. That was in Boston.
Okay.
It was a Chinese, it was a restaurant, Chinese restaurant, but it was Chinese Elm Comedy Club. Again, named after
I'm at Tiger
Wood.
Woods' House of
I'm doing
Laughter.
actual trees. You're just taking the word wood. Like you can't go, oh, it's at Natalie Wood's Comedy Club. We're doing, the theme is woods. Like
I'm doing a show in a tree down at the park and later today.
I once performed at Plywood Comedy Club. It was like compounded wood.
I'm going to be at Home Depot in half an hour doing a set in the lumber aisle.
I'm completely blanking on trees right now. I wish I could think of more.
I guess I won.
Harland Williams. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Episode 47. Orny Adams. That was good. Do you know I'm doing this now with everybody?
You should.
I'm not shaking hands anymore.
Good for you, finally.
Yeah.
You won't get as sick.
But sometimes people are like, they're angry. Come on.
I get executives at me, and I just go, I'm sorry. I'm not going to get sick for 2 weeks versus making
But the handshake has become political. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Dude, thank you.
That was a blast, buddy.
So we're going to put you here.
Here, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to close this. So.
Oh, man, this is tight.
That's really
Jesus.
tight. Yeah. This is how
you
it's...
got to move it here.
So normally this camera's on me, that camera's on me, this one's like over there where the juice is now, and then I have another camera up here. So now the only way to do this is to have, I'll sit where I normally sit.
Yeah.
And then you'll sit right there.
I'll sit right there.
I think I can put this one here as like a two shot.
Okay.
I think. But no, like normally there's a light there. Your light has to be natural light coming in from outside.
Okay, well, I'm a natural beauty, so that works.
So let's turn this on. Let's just see.
Wow, look at these lenses.
I know. Yeah, because you're setting up a studio. And normally the phone can go through this too. Oh, look how good you look. Wow.
I do?
Yeah. Can you see on the monitor? Lean in.
Oh, I always look good. I mean,
Yeah, but that's
I don't need verification from a monitor.
I think I gave you the better angle. Anyway, so let me set this up.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Cotter.